E-Slave Manga back in with another YouTube video. And man, to be honest, third time making this video. I didn't feel comfortable with the first take, the second take. So the third take, the show must go on. And I think I'm gonna post this one regardless. I think sometimes, we just feel too self-conscious. But as we just said, the show goes on. Naruto! Woo, woo, woo! Masashi Kishimoto's masterpiece we have in front of us. I own all 1 through 72 volumes and some of the movies and side stories of this beloved series we all know, whether we've heard it here or there, whether from a young one or old people, we don't know. What does this word mean? What's it about? I heard it means fish cakes. Yes, I I think that's it. Oh, it's not. Oh, well, yeah. Let's showcase the 1 through 72 real quick, and then we'll get right into the video of my thoughts and opinions of Naruto. Luffy? We'll get into that another day. And so now we'll get into our main thoughts and opinions. We'll center the camera, and we're looking good. So today, our discussion is over Naruto. However you want to say it. I truly like to say it with a little gusto because this is one of those series that I personally have always loved since I was young. And even now that I'm like 26 years old, can always look back to the story, whether I just need a good laugh, I need a good cry, or I just need a little fight inside. This story has it all. I definitely want to nitpick the ending a little bit, but maybe I'll get into that here later in the video. So, let's start off with a question. Do you think that the manga looks as good as the anime? Ding, ding, ding. Well, let's see a couple panels and we will find out. I feel like this was a good one of Naruto and Sasuke and Karin and Soigetsu and ninja swishing through the trees, as we're familiar with. So this volume in particular, volume 41 of Naruto Shippuden, is actually more or less about his sensei, Pervy Sage. Pervy Sage is probably one of the top tier senseis, if you're not familiar with him, and as the name implies that I'm giving him, he was a tad pervy. But he was definitely one of the more moralistic characters you actually would see, believe it or not. And the reason I say that is because everybody that knew this man respected this man, and they knew that he was one of the 3 legendary Sannin. And I'll just show one last picture of our amazing pervy sage, Jiraiya, which was one of the more menacing forms I've ever seen of our beloved sensei. Yes, shall we begin? No, let's not. And maybe I will just show one last of all the ending volumes look like this, where we can see a little brief picture of some of the main characters that we love through this series. Definitely in the earlier series, we get familiar with who these characters are. Are they friends? Are they enemies? You'll have to find out. It feels bad because of how much I actually love this series. Just seeing their faces made me want to name them off one by one. So now we'll get into actually my thoughts and opinions about this beloved series, Naruto. So the world building, what do I think? I think it's amazing. I think it's literally 8 out of 10. Why is it not 10 out of 10? Things like Berserk and Claymore. That's why. If you're not familiar with those series, we'll have to make a video on those too. Don't worry, I got box sets, I got books. We're gonna do it up. Just wait and see for the content of this year. So now, world building, check. Okay, characters. Let's just do a little 2-minute overview. Why do I believe the characters of Naruto are truly one of a kind? I believe these characters are kind of one of a kind, even if they're inspired by some other mangas and animes that have come out over the years, even before Naruto was created. I believe that they have touched our hearts in so many ways, whether it has been through Naruto and Gaara and some of the other characters that truly grew up with no one but themselves, truly living on the streets as we would call it today. The village world was very, very hard, and hardly anyone had a good backstory. Everyone knew what pain was in the world of Naruto. Whether it was your parents died in the war, right? Experimentation through evil people, um, people experimenting on themselves. You name it, Naruto probably has it in one way, shape, or form. Um, some of the great good characters that I want to give honorable mentions to that were my personal favorites. Pervy Sage, as we just showcased, he was a beloved sensei for me. I felt like he honestly loved his students and wished to protect them with all of his might, as some of the great senseis would always do. If you're familiar with Attack on Titan, if you ever thought Levi was a sensei, you're probably wrong because he kind of beat the crap out of Eren continuously. So maybe a sensei, maybe not. We'll get into that one day. So characters besides Jiraiya Sensei, probably man, what isn't a good character in Naruto? Let's just name two more good characters. I really liked Might Guy or Rock Lee because in a world of powers and let's say ninjutsu and all these things, there was these two men who there again pretty much had no powers. Might Guy, he might have had a little bit, but Rock Lee was truly the exception to the rule, almost like Asta from Black Clover, born into a world of magic with none. Yet this man would become one of the ninja's finest shinobi. How did he do it? Hard work and dedication. And truly, it is the embodiment of these two characters that I cannot get enough of, even in my own life. I wish to take after them and embody the spirit of youth, as Guy Sensei would say. One last character I will give for the bad side, and then maybe we'll get into some of the other aspects of Naruto. So, a negative character I will actually have up on screen next to the drawing, which is Orochimaru. Yes, that is Orochimaru, believe it or not. In his older years, he still looks that young. Yes, he's pulling a Lady Tsunade to some degree. I don't know how, but he's just that good. Um, so Orochimaru is a very interesting character because he's wrapped up in the beginning of the story as a main villain almost, and then his role kind of shifts throughout the series, especially once you get into the later half of Shippuden. So, he is definitely one of the more iconic villains of the series, if you are familiar with it at all. If I have not hooked you enough with Naruto and why to check it out, you definitely should, whether in the anime or in the manga. It is definitely a chore to keep all of these 1 through 72 volumes, but if you are that invested as I am, and I'm sure you are, being that involved with this beloved character in front of us, Naruto Uzumaki. Yes, the knucklehead ninja. And so now we'll move away from characters and we'll get into the plot. So I think the plot and the story, I've described it a little bit about being in a ninja world, the goods and the bads, and I think that the plot is very well done in the sense of I would definitely rate it probably a solid 9 out of 10. It's definitely one of those things that you should pick up, not just because of the story itself, but as I've already mentioned, the world building's amazing, the characters are amazing, and so if the story along with it, I mean, you can truly see why I regard this story as possibly a masterpiece. And so, last but not least, I think in the criteria I have for manga that I really think about and say, is this a good manga? And should I own this for the long haul? And that would be relatability and longevity. Does this story relate to me? And will I remember it for the long haul? And I have to answer yes to both of these questions. The longevity is I've known this story since I was young, and I still know it since I'm 26 now. Will I remember it when I'm 41? Maybe. I would like to believe so. And so, we'll move on to the next point. If it has the longevity, does it have the relatability? Absolutely. So, I definitely grew up a slightly more privileged life, but definitely still hard at times. And so, the only aspect I could relate to with Naruto as the main character was the aloneness. I didn't have any siblings or anything like that, but we still chug along. I never really acted out like Naruto or anything like that, and so there was definitely always other characters that I could relate with through the story. But it answered those two questions. Is it relatable? And does it have the longevity? And yes, it does. And so for the criteria of all of these things, I believe that it possibly is a masterpiece. Is it my favorite out of all of my manga works? It isn't. You know, if you've seen my top 5 video, it actually did make the top 5. And if you actually know me personally, you could be like, how? How does he not put it number 1? And it's because the other stories touched me that much. I, um, I felt like they embodied so much passion, as Naruto did, but the artistic talent of some of these authors like Kentaro Miura with Berserk blew me away. Some of the emotional elements with Berserk blew me away, right? Like, they just etched a little bit higher than Naruto, and it's the same thing with One Piece and all of the others that I mentioned on my top 5. Somehow, some way, they etched out Naruto by just a hair. And I feel like all of the good things I'm saying about this series should really go to show you how passionate and close and relatable that I myself can find the story to be. And I hope that you can find these same qualities within yourself when watching or reading this story. So now I think we'll close it out here on my thoughts and opinions over the Knucklehead Ninja, Naruto Uzumaki, and this masterclass story by Masashi Kishimoto. And I hope you guys have a great night. And this was another great video by Slave Manga, and we'll catch you again next time. Like and subscribe.